Hello to all members of SUG Chennai. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I welcome you all to the webinar on From AI Suggestions to Secure Execution with our esteemed guest speaker, Amit Kumar, who is 8 times Sitecore Technology MVP. I thank you all for joining us in this exciting webinar, and I thank Amit for accepting to share his expertise and taking time out of his busy schedule. Amit, the stage is all yours.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and thank you Sitecore User Group Chennai for the opportunity. And I know that it's a late evening for someone and some for it's a day start, and thank you for joining. So in today's session, I will be covering more on the how we can utilize the AI for a secure execution. So agenda of the today's session is I will be covering why we need this, and I will be covering the some AI concept and also touching upon the MCP fundamentals and what is Sitecore Marketer MCP and how we can create our own Marketer MCP to implement our custom use cases or for any sort of automation with the help of AI, and what is the responsible AI in practice and how we need to utilize the AI in our day-to-day work so that we are working in a secured environment and with a within all the legal things. And this is about me, myself, Amit, and I'm having around a 20 plus years of experience and currently working with the have not, and you can reach out to me via any of the social media channel. And to make this interactive session, I will request you that if you are having any question, you can feel free to drop a questions in the chat and I can take it at a later stage. Coming to the first section, why this matter now, the enterprise gap. So you know that the everyone is using the AI, right? So now AI is everywhere. So nowadays, the Gen AI and Copilots are the main stream, right? Everyone is using the Gen AI and the Copilots in their day-to-day work. Even if you are a non-technical, also people are using that to generate the messages, drafting the things, or getting the ideas out of it. So everyone is using, right? But in most of the cases where the enterprise organization comes into the picture, right? So Gen AI and Copilot are just stops at that, right? Because they can just provide the recommendation drafting, right? And they cannot do the end-to-end processes, right? So that's why the real bottlenecks comes into the picture, right? So we started looking into some sort of a standard procedures so that we can integrate our, you can say that the all the integration points or any third-party integration we can do with the help of a some standard procedure. Because if you will tell the Gen AI to do anything, right? So they can generate you, like for example, you are telling that I would like to generate a product description page for specific product, right? So it will draft a document for that, and then it will stop because uh, AI is not having access to your backend system. It cannot perform unless and until you are creating the agent and adding all the API endpoints there. But you need to write some things. But the Gen AI and Copilot cannot do that, right? Like they can't just go and create a CMS item. They can't can they create a CRM unless and until you are not attaching any set of tools or the API details. They can't do that. So that's why the true need for a standard procedures comes into the picture, right? And that is the things which I am going to cover in the upcoming slides. So I try to explain this gap with the help of a the brain without hands problem. So you know that the LLM can write a blog post for you, right? But it cannot reliably create the pages, add the component, or do some sort of action into the backend system, right? Because it can generate the things, that's the brain, right? Because it can give you the idea. But someone, if you are seeing in this diagram, right, someone as a human will took those ideas and recommendation and they need to perform the manual steps, right? So they are not having the hands which can perform the end-to-end workflow, or you can say that the use cases to do that, right? So that's why this gaps will be coming into the picture, who will be there to automate those things in a governed model, right? Like role-based access will be there, and you will be having all sorts of logging mechanism. So because most enterprise will be looking those aspects, that's why they will be adopting any tool, like it can be CMS or any other tool. So if it is a governed product, it is having all the security is in place. That's why enterprise system will be start utilizing that. So how we will fill the gap? We can fill the gap with the help of a roles like agentic AI and the MCP. So what will happen that when we will start utilizing the MCP tools and we will start creating the agentic AI. So agentic AI can discover those tools and it can tell to access those tools and perform the action. So these two will be working as a hands with the brain of a Gen AI and a co-pilot or a ULLM model to orchestrate the complete flow and do the end-to-end execution. So now I will be moving to the AI concepts. Like you are working on AI extensively, so you will be knowing about a Gen AI, Copilot AI agent, and agentic AI. So in simple terms, when you will think about the Gen AI, like a generative AI, it's a brain, right? So generative AI models like a GPT-4 or all your LLM models, right, are the core intelligent layer, right? Or you can say that the underlying engine. So they are proficient or excel in producing the new content, text, code, or images for you. So it means the strength of them is content creation, summarization, or a ideation. They can give you the idea. But limitation is that they can't execute or they are not having the inbuilt execution capability or not having a direct access to the tools or a system to perform the action. And also the no planning beyond a single response. If you are telling summarize this, they will just summarize that. So they are not having the intelligence in place so that they can execute the next step automatically by their own. So like you are using the chat GTP to draft a blog. So Copilot, you can think of a assistant like Copilot generally embed the Gen AI directly like tools like VS Code or a Cloud Desktop. So you will be directly using your models into that, embedding into that, right? So they are having the mechanism to observe the user context or store the user behavior into the memory so that next time when you are coming back or using the same session, so they don't need to go back again and ask the same question to you. So that's why if you are using the Copilot or a Visual Studio Code, so that's why you can save the tokens because they already knowing that what is your context, and then they will be not asking again question every time when you are coming to perform the same action. So in those cases the strength is that they are having the in context recommendation for you, so they can suggest you the code completion and they can do the productivity boost. But they are also using the tools only to do this. They can't having a inbuilt capability to do that because they are not autonomous and they are not having access to all of the tools. So AI agent, you can think of a specialist because AI agent wraps Gen AI within various specific goals and set of tools. So they can also perform the pre-defined tasks like fetching a data from somewhere, finding a broken links into your website, or you want to filter some results, right? So it means the strength of them is task execution, API-based automation, like I was explaining earlier. You can create an agent, you can write a API endpoints and you can give the headers also, all the authentication authorization you can give that and they can automatically go and make a call. But you need to define the code for that into your agents. Then only they can do that. So that way they are having the API based automation, right? So limitation is that they are dependent on a available integration. If you need to perform any action, you need to explicitly define the integration points or a API endpoint so that they can perform the actions. So example is that if you are creating an agent to retrieve the flight data, so when the specific carrier is having a flight, so for that what you need a API endpoint. So that's why it is having a limited access to the tools or integration points. So agentic AI you can think of as a manager. So it introduced the automation, reasoning and planning. So it will not following the script, right? What it will do, it will breaks the one specific goal of a user into a small steps, or you can say that the sub agents, and then automatically it will select the true tools also. And if some path is failing or something is failing, so it will automatically identify the tools which can be utilized, and then it also evaluates the outcome and present you into the better user experience, so that it will looks good to the end user, not in a JSON. Suppose if you are returning any JSON, if you will just showcase a raw JSON to the user, so user will be not able to understand, right? So in those cases, these co-pilots will be coming into the picture, which is also having the user experience, and this agentic AI also able to understand the output, and they can also pass the output of a one sub agent to the other agent. So it means they are doing the orchestration with the help of a sub agent. You can say that if you have written, so it will be not automatically written, someone needs to write it. So that way you can tell them to pass the output of a one to the other, and they can do the handshaking, and they can perform the multi-step planning, or you can say the multi-step workflow, they can execute that. So for example, if you wanted to plan a trip, right, where you need to check the weather, you need to compare the flight and the booking with the constant. So in those cases, when agentic AI comes into the picture, it will not perform the steps in a one shot. What it will do, it will divide into a small tasks, like check the weather for a duration, because if you are creating agentic AI or a orchestration based project, so in those cases you will be best to divide the task into a small agents, sub agents. So in those cases, checking weather agent will be asking you a time frame, and it will get the weather of that, and then it will pass those times and those details to the flights, so that if the weather is not good for a specific location, then it will automatically suggest you by getting a data from the internet which weather is good for a specific location. That's why that way it will pass a uh, output of a one agent to the another, and they will be able to perform all the operation. And also the human in loop will be there. Why? Because if you are writing a agent in such a manner that to perform any action where it will involve the backend system integration, it always good to ask for a confirmation. So that's why you are giving a end user who is running your agents to review, so that they are having the responsibility that whatever the agent is doing, they have already reviewed that. So that's why human in loop is very important. So that's why agentic AI work as a manager to perform the automation. So the quick glance of a capability metric is that, so like a Gen AI can primary role is to generate the content, Copilot is the assistant tool, and AI agent can do the task execution. Agentic AI can plan, reason, and act on that. But for anyone to be completely do the automation, they need some sort of a integration or a standard behavior, so that every time whenever your agent is trying to perform some action, it is will be a perform any action, then it will work. It's not like that every time it will be exploring a different things. So that's why the MCP tools comes into the picture, because MCP tool will be providing a some sort of a descriptions or a payload, so that if user is asking something, and then agentic AI will be having access to your MCP tools, and it will be automatically able to correlate the natural language of a user with the MCP tools. So that's why MCP tool is very important to do the end-to-end integration in the enterprise system. So that's why we can fulfill the gap with the help of agentic AI, like a orchestration tool, orchestration. You can say that the agentic AI, and with the help of a MCP tools, we can perform a end-to-end task, so that enterprise systems or enterprise organization who are more concerned about a security features, they can adopt the AI into their day-to-day work. So now coming to the MCP fundamentals. So without this layer, right, which you are seeing, you will be end up with a ad hoc integration only. But if you will adopt the standard tool discovery, typed inputs, permission and audit trails, and consistent execution gateway, then you are ready to adopt the MCP tool, because these are the four main, you can say that a pillar or something, and these things are missing between AI and enterprise system. If you will adopt that with the help of MCP tools, then you can create a governed enterprise environment. So in simple word, what is an MCP, right? It's an open standard for AI to tool interaction. It will provide you the discovery and invocation, and also it will be a typed schema, predictable cost, because it will be giving a what is the payload, what is the type safety, what type of parameter needs to be passed. Everything will be exposed to your agents so that they can know that which things needs to be called. And permission scope execution. So it will not work like that. Uh, it will not give you the access to the tools unless and until you will be not having the proper authentication authorization to that specific MCP. Auditability and the governance will be there, because if you are creating any sort of MCP tool, so most of the people will be doing the logging, and they will be having authentication mechanism in place so that unwanted user cannot access their backend system. So that way you are implementing both the things. And so MCP is not an, you can think of a AI model, it's a bridge between a agent which is trying to access the backend system. So if you will see this mental model, like you can think of it's a client server integration, like you are having the AI app like a GitHub Copilot or something, you are using it. So you will be defining some sort of a JSON files which will be having a tools. So whenever AI agent is trying to access any of the tool, so the MCP client which is running on the host machine will be making a remote procedure call to the MCP server, and then MCP server will be accessing a specific tool which is requested by the MCP client, and then it will invoke the tool and it will return the result, or you can say that the whatever is output by the specific MCP tool, it will return back to the end user. So that's way whatever the manual step you have seen in the previous slides, that can be fulfilled by this MCP client and the MCP server, so that everything which is suggested or drafted by the MCP, the AI models, those things can be passed to the MCP client, and MCP client will be passing those to the MCP server, and MCP server will execute those tasks in the backend securely. So if we will combine the agentic AI plus MCP, so you are seeing that user is having some goals. So agentic AI will do the reasoning and planning, and based on that, it will do the invocation of a specific tools so that it can interact with the enterprise system, right? So that's why the enterprise systems adopting the MCP, because it's a standard protocol, like instead of a one-time integration or a specific fragile integration. Tools are because it's providing you the discoverable tools of catalog, so that agentic AI or your agent will be able to know that which specific tools needs to be called based on the user prompt. And predictable input and output, because whenever you are exposing your tools to the outer world, you are giving the all the return parameter as well as what are the input parameter. In those cases, your agent will be knowing upfront that what will be the payload and what will be the response. And also, whenever you are using any sort of a MCP tool, let's say example of a Sitecore marketer MCP. So when you are starting that tool, it is asking you to authenticate and then authorize to access a specific site. So it means authentication or authorization is the first steps in a MCP tool, so that it's always coming with the secured feature so that enterprise system can rely on that. And when you are giving the authorization, so you already having the audit log who is accessing the system. It's not like that the name of your AI tool or a system will be coming because specific user is giving access to the MCP tool. In those cases, the context of the user is always present to the backend system that who is updating that. So that way you are making them as a auditable and role-based access. So now coming to the Sitecore Marketer MCP tool. So I hope everyone have listened about the Sitecore Marketer MCP tools. So Sitecore Marketer MCP also applies the MCP. You can say that the standards to the Sitecore marketing task. So this Sitecore Marketer MCP basically meant for a developer as well as the marketer, because if marketer needs to create any sort of automation or anything, in those cases they need to log in into the CMS system. They need to copy paste the document content from a document, and they need to paste into the uh, Sitecore content tree by creating an item. But with the help of a Sitecore marketer MCP tool, if they are drafting anything with the help of AI agent, so they can pass that directly to the marketer MCP tool, and marketer MCP tool can discover a sort of a method which needs to be called, and they can do the update in the backend system. In those cases, it is providing a complete automation journey for content creation from any source to the Sitecore system. So that way it is providing you the different, I think it's providing you a more than 20 plus methods which you can utilize, and generally it will be natural language and it will be mapping with the tools. And at the end, tools will be connected to the Sitecore agent API. So at the end, when you are calling any of the marketer MCP tool, it will be internally connecting with the Sitecore agent API, and it is performing a task. So it will work with the multiple LLMs and the clients like a Cloud AI, Copilot Studio. It will work. So in terms of a capabilities and architecture, so as I was explaining, so you are having the AI host, like you are using the VS Code or a Cloud A, and you will be having the MCP client, which will be interacting with the your marketer MCP tool, and which will internally calling the agent API, and that agent API will be performing the task into your Sitecore platform like a CMS. It will be performing. So it will be having the complete governance and the consistency. It's not like that every time it will do some different action or ask you to perform, tell the what needs to be done, because tools are discoverable. So if you will say that create the new item, so automatically it will fetch the create item method or a tool, and it will perform the action. So that's why it's a consistent. So that's why we can do the complete automation to our content generation journey. So with the help of this, you can understand that before MCP, suppose AI suggests something, then you need to human clicks through the CMS UI and it will perform the action. But with the help of MCP, it's execute safely and perform all the automation without human intervention. But human is there and human is watching, or if you have written a agent in such a way that it will always ask for a confirmation. So that's why you can verify that where it is going to update. Because as I was explaining, Copilot is having a context of yours. So first, suppose first time you have just created, use this document and create the item inside the home node. So it's not like that next time you are telling to create a item, right? It should not go and update directly again in the under the home item, right? Unless and until you are not writing instruction, it will always go and create a item at the same location. So that's why you always need to have some sort of instruction, so that person who is executing having a complete responsibility that it's creating at a correct place. So now coming to the section like extendability and the adoption. So as you all working on the Sitecore and the Microsoft tech stack, so you will be more keen to explore the things or looking for a continuous automation, right? So that the things which are manual, you can automate. So that's why you can also extend the MCP with custom .NET tools. So the you are having the C sharp, you can say that a MCP kit is there, or you can say that the packages are there. You can utilize that your own, you can utilize those SDK and you can create your own, you can say that the MCP tools. So as I was telling, MCP is a standard tool. Suppose if you are having a backend system is .NET, so you don't need a custom MCP tool in .NET. You can write in Python also. But what I'm trying to explain is there, if you are a .NET developer, then you will feel easy to create in the .NET itself. So that's why we are having the C Sharp SDK, which we can utilize to create the custom MCP tool also. So in those cases, what you can do that you can having the MCP client, you can create your own MCP server. I will be showing you in the demo, and you can write your own custom method or a server and which you can interact with any of the API. Suppose some of the tasks like I will be showing you, I have created a one custom MCP tool which is trying to get a children of a Sitecore AI items. So suppose if any of the tasks which you need to automate, right? But there is no out of the box tools present from the Sitecore Marketer MCP, or say you need to update in the CRM system, but CRM system is not providing the MCP server for you. So what you will do, you will write your own custom MCP server, which will be internally interacting with the your CRM system via API endpoints or anything, so that you can do the complete automation. So for example, you are creating a what you can say that the product listing or a product catalog you are creating, and someone have shared you the product MSU, or you can say that all the product attributes, and that you need to push first into the CRM system. So once that is inserted there, and from that you need to get a ID or something, and that you need to push as a linking with your Sitecore content tree, like a product page or something like that. So in those cases, you can create your own custom MCP tool and you can integrate into your complete automation flow. So let me show you the code. 1 minute. So what I will trying to show you here, let me open in the Visual Studio. So to create your own MCP server, so what you need to do, you just need to create your MCP server project, and then you need to use the SDKs, and you need to register the tools, and you need to run the MCP server, and then you can connect your MCP server to the VS Code, or if you are deploying that tool into any of the Azure or any other infrastructure, then you need to do that. So what you need to do if you are creating your own MCP server, so you need to inherit the Microsoft data.sqlite package, and you need to use extension, and you need to use the model context protocol SDK. So those things you need it, and the project which you will be creating, that will be the .NET Core project, not the .NET 4.a project. Once you are done with that, then you will be coming to the this program.cs files. So you need to register the MCP server, and transport using the approach, right, which you are seeing it here. So what happened that you will be doing the service registration because if you are using the dependent injection and you are creating any sort of service which you would have to call it, so you need to do the service registration. It's up to you what type of implementation approach you are using it. And then you will be adding this logging information. Those are the standard things which you will be using. And then you will be using the MCP server whiling, like you will be using the add MCP server. So with the help of that, what you will do, you will register the MCP into the .NET dependency injection pipeline. And with this TDIO server transport, you are setting the STDIO as a transport mechanism or a communication channel. And with tool from assembly, you will be giving the authority to the auto discoverable so that all MCP tools will be auto discover to your AI agent. Then you will be creating a tool class. So what I was explaining you, I have created a one simple tool which is connecting with the Sitecore AI. So in those cases, you need to decorate the class with the MCP server tool types. So what it will do, it will tell SDK it's a tool container. So one class can have a multiple tools into that, but generally we will be creating a tool specific to the one of the product or one of the, you can say that the list of the tasks which you need to perform. So here if you are seeing that I am creating the Sitecore AI specific tool, so that's why I am clubbing that into the uh, you can say that the tools container. And then for every tools which you are creating it, that will needs to be decorated with the MCP server tool, right? That decoration you need to do, and which the clear description. So this description generally will be a simple natural language, the way user is interacting with the normal people, or you can say that the co-pilot. So that way you need to decorate or you need to write a description. So you don't need to be put anything technical in this. It should be a simple sentence will be there, like I have mentioned retrieve child item details from the site code, right? So if I will say that get child details also, then also this is being called. And then I was keep telling in the presentation, it is a type safe or a self-explanatory. So type safe means that you are defining a payload of a this method like a string, right? So it will be automatically known to your AI agent that what type of parameter is being accepted by this, and also what will be the return type they are expecting it from the MCP server or a tools. So that way you will be decorating your method. And here you are saying that I am expecting that it will be item path, and also I am giving a example of a item path and also the example of a GUID. So if you will pass a wrong GUID, sometimes it will work. Why? Because if you are having the context uh, in your current session where you are interacting with the co-pilot or you are using the Claude, so if they are known about some IDs, then automatically they will correct that. But if you are starting the fresh session and if you are passing the wrong GUID, it will also say that it is not into the current format. So that's why it's always better to uh, define the things the way you are expecting, and you should not be uh, performing a CRUD operation. It should be a goal oriented, like instead of exposing a like a raw get sales method. So you need to describe like it as a summarized daily sales by channel. So you need to give a simple language so that it will be easy to understand by the AI agent. So once you are creating the this, so here you are seeing that I have created a some Sitecore AI service. It's nothing, just a some simple service method. So what I am trying to do that I am using a GraphQL endpoints to access the to get the child details. And here if you are seeing I am passing hard coded value of a API key, and also I am passing the Edge GraphQL URL as a hard coded. But when you are working with the, it's just for a demo, but it's not like that you always need to pass as a hard coded. You can utilize the environment variables also here. So when you are setting up your solution, or you can say that the mcp.json, you can define the environment variable, and from there also you can pick up so that whenever any developer is taking your code, so you are not passing your credentials or your API key or anything to anyone else. So that's why it's a secure. And also you don't need to deploy that to the cloud so that you can access it. So when you are a developer or any marketing team is there, even they are using the, you can say that a iOS system also, and they have installed the .NET framework, they can also utilize your this tool. So they do not need to run the tool, but with the help of a configuration in the mcp.json, it will be automatically run in the background and they can use that. So that's why you need to utilize always the environment variable so that when you will be deploying that into the any infrastructure or a SaaS model, so you will be able to get the data like from a key value pair, you will be able to get the data from there so that you can secure your credentials. So that way you need to implement that. And also it's a secured because you are not sharing with any of the developer. If they need to run it, they need to write their own environment variables and they can utilize that. So once that is done, what you need to do if you are using the Claude, you just go to your Claude desktop.config.json file, you will give your absolute path. But if you are using the GitHub Copilot or anything, you just need to add like this as a relative path based on where your solution have been placed. So suppose my solution is present here. So that's why I have mentioned the root path. So suppose if it is inside any folder, then you need to mention the relative path. And there are some changes when you are working with the Visual Studio Code. Suppose if you are seeing here, like you need to pass the type here, but here you don't need to pass the type. And also here the command is .NET because I'm on the I'm using the MCP, then automatically it will able to call the .NET exe. But when you are using the Claude, you need to pass that which you can say that compiler is being used to compile your code. So because that's why I was telling that you don't need to run it because you are already giving the command, then this command will be used to execute, or you can say that the compile your code, and then you will be able to use it. So that way you are making the integration. And here is another thing like environment variable. You can have a .env something like that, and you can add your all environment variable into the this, and those you can access in the code. So that way you can create your custom implementation. So there is a one more thing like I shown you that this is here I am using the edge, but this is a simple one where the third party you can say that a JSON file is being used, and that JSON file utilized by the MCP tools to give you the list of the monkeys. So it's a simple method. It is having a get monkeys and details of a monkeys. And same way I'm having a some selling service tools which will just give you the details of a product and other things and the site code. So let's say if I am trying to run with the Claude, so I will say that list of tools. So what it will do, it will give me the list of tools which are available. So suppose I have integrated the Figma tool and this my MCP site code AI tools, right? So how it is taking that name because uh, I have defined the name here. So it is taking that name when giving me the answer. So you are seeing get monkey, get monkeys, get sailing, get child leader, echo and reverse echo. So suppose if I will tell that uh, give me the list of monkeys. So what generally it will do, it should give me the list of monkeys, right? So in that way, what happened that because it's a self-explanatory. So if you will go there into the get monkeys tool, so it's mentioned that list of monkeys, right? So that's why it's auto discoverable and your AI agent will be knowing that which tools needs to call, and then it's automatically called that tool. So if you will see the result is coming in the JSON format, but your co-pilot, and those are very rich in user experience, and they are uh, rendering the data in a format so that it is easy for the user to understand. Suppose if I will just pass the mandrill, right? So let's see what it will do. So automatically it's calling the get monkeys. Why? Because he is having a context of what you did in the past. Like I was telling, right? It stored the context of a user, and from there it's calling this. So suppose if I will sales details. So let's see what it will do. So get sellings. So automatically it's went to the this and it is returning the details. And all the data have been picked up from the dummy service, you can say that, or a dummy data it's giving you back. And also it's a JSON, but you are seeing here it is rendering in a correct format. So suppose if I will say that print hello world, let's see what happened. So I just said the print hello world, but I am having a echo tool. What it will do, it will echo the message back to the client. But these models are, you can say that proficient, and they are able to map what I am telling to map with the tools which is available, which can print the data. That's why automatically it's echoed. So now coming to the Sitecore tool, uh, give me the child details. See, so please provide me the item path or item ID, right? So why I was explaining, right, and emphasizing that when you are defining your tools, so you need to give in a clear format what it is doing it and what is the parameter you are expecting those things. So it's automatically took it from here and it's telling me to do that. So what will I do? I am having a list of the items. So let's take a some item from here. So what it will do, it will automatically go to your tools, get child details, and if you are seeing language is a default which I am passing, so that's why it's not asking me, and it will pass it and automatically it will connect, uh, go to this tool, call will go and it will pass the data to my service and it will return the data. So if you wanted to see that how it is happening in a real time, so I'm having a screenshot here. So these are this way, if you are integrating in the GitHub Copilot, you will be able to see the tool. So when you are making a call, the call will be coming here, and then this is the complete request which is being built up when you are passing that the dynamic query, and it will execute and it will be getting this JSON data and it will be returned back to you in the form of a output, and that response will be rendered by your GitHub Copilot. So that way, this complete you can say that the integration of say or a complete flow will be happening with the help of a custom tools. So that's way, if you are having any tools, or you can say that the any automation or a end-to-end integration which generally you are having in terms of a API endpoints, that you can convert that into the MCP server, and that way you can perform a complete end-to-end automation. So now coming back to our slides. So that way, these things which custom MCP server, we have implemented that, and then I showcase that how you can connect with the internal API or any sort of data source, and that way you can implement your custom MCP tool and you can implement the continuous improvement. So now coming to the responsible AI in practice, that is a very important or good to know. So what is responsible AI? So responsible AI generally ensure that AI system operates safely, transparently, and under the human and organization control. So it means that if you are performing any of the operation using the AI, like if you are using the chat GPT or Copilot. So when the any output is coming, you are seeing the disclaimer, it's AI generated content. You need to review that. So why they are keep emphasizing that? Because it's always human responsibility that if anything is generated by the AI, needs to be reviewed by someone to take the responsibility, because AI can mimic the data also, because some things are not currently present, but it will take the false data from somewhere also and it will can present you also. So it's your responsibility that you will analyze that. So means you need to take the responsibility, responsible AI in your practice while you are designing it, any of the AI tool, or you are deploying it, or whichever the system you are utilizing to integrate. So those should always come in a safe manner or in an organized manner and under the some observation. So that is you can treat as a responsible AI, and you always needs to add a human in loop into that, so that if anyone is executing the task, uh, they will be having a complete responsibility of all the action they are performing using the AI tools. So recommendation as a starting point is that if you want to automate, so always pick up the non-critical content operation like a blogs, campaign pages. Don't try to start with the CRM integration where the monetary things are involved or any legal things are involved. And use standard components and templates. For example, if you are creating the any AI automation in terms of agents, so try to utilize the simple component or the tools which are available and create a simple template, not very complex or a long template, and apply a human oversight, right? So that before performing any option into the backend system, it will present you that these are the things I am going to apply to backend system. And can I do that or not? So that way you will be having a human intervention or human in loop, and avoid the autonomous changes, so that if anything needs to be automated changes, you should avoid that. Why? Because first verify that it is going to create a item in a right place or not, with the right credential or not, then only you will allow them to do that. And also enforce a least privileges. Don't always use the admin access to perform anything. Create a role or a service account or named user or a role-based access, so that you will be having a complete track of who is updating what. Otherwise, you always be getting that some admin have updated or some service account have been used to update that. And also always enable the logging and monitoring, so that you will be having a complete log who is doing the update into your system. So that way, if these practices you should follow, and then you will be compliant with the responsible AI things. Coming to the key takeaways and the Q&A. So I have tried to explain in this session in terms of what is agentic AI and what is Gen AI, and where the gaps are there, why the enterprise organization is not adopting the AI. So how we can fulfill, or you can say that the gap we can add with the help of agentic AI plus the MCP tools, and how we can host our custom MCP tools or a marketer MCP tools, which is provided by Sitecore into the Visual Studio Code, or in which is the help of a Cloud, and how we can create a custom MCP tools to implement the continuous improvement. And these are the differences. If you will scan that, then you will be having a list of the articles which you can go through and start understanding what are these concepts, and you can implement those also into your project. So now if you are having any questions, you can feel free to ask me.
Anyone have any questions?
That's great. You can ping me anytime via any of the social media channel. You can scan this QR code and you can connect with me, and you can ping me offline also if you are having any sort of question. Maybe I will be able to help you, or I will be able to know the things from your side also. So I will be happy to connect with you.
Sure, Amit.
Hey, Amit,
Amit, sir,
very quick question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Amit, what is the MCP particularly the cycle term or general or in the industry?
See,
Model.
the model context protocol is a standard word, and Sitecore have implemented also MCP in terms of a Sitecore marketer MCP tools. They have named it as a Sitecore marketer MCP tools. So MCP is a standard like a industry standard model context
Oh,
protocol,
okay, so industry calling that. Okay, gotcha.
and Sitecore have implemented named it like a Sitecore
For
marketer
marketing,
MCP.
okay.
Yes. So
Yeah,
that's why it's called the MCP tool for the marketer.
gotcha. Thank you. Great presentation. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Amit, do we have any GitHub repository where we can get this code that you showcased now?
As I was showing you one repository, right? Wait a minute. So I am
Yeah.
having a one custom repository,
Okay.
which is here. So in this, I have created a this tools. So you can explore
Okay.
that and you can run it and your local. But you need to change, you need to pass your API key and those things. That's it. And then it will be working. And same way you can utilize any of the agent API to build anything. It's up to you. So that's why I just followed the simple Edge API, but you can do anything which you wanted to do.
Okay. Okay. You have tried standard IO, right? STT-IO. Have you
Yes, yes,
tried
yes.
with HTTP protocol as well? HTTPS mode
No,
also?
I haven't tried that, but I have
Okay.
used this only because what you can do that you can do the integration changes with the help of a this, right? So you need
Yep.
to, but I have tried only the STDIO, but I haven't tried the HTTP.
Okay.
But it is supported by MCP. It should work.
Got it. Okay. If no one has any other questions, I think we can wind off the session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks everyone for joining my session. If you are having anything or any comment for me to improvise the session or any other topic which you would love to uh, presented by me, you can feel free to ping me. And once again, thanks Sitecore User Group Chennai for the opportunity for
Yeah.
having me.
I I thank all the participants who attended this session and asked great questions to make this session live. And special thanks to our esteemed guest speaker Amit for the great session on from AI suggestions to secure execution. Um, have a nice day and rest of the evening. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Bye. Take care.